What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, privileged to be joined today by Bob Nightengale of USA Today, covers, of course, nationally Major League Baseball. He's also the president of the Baseball Writers Association of America. He is doing this as he is traveling to Los Angeles, recently arrived in Los Angeles. So, Bob, we appreciate your time. How excited are you for this playoffs to finally get going?
Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year. It's like postseason, my favorite time. Spring training's the second time. Regular season, up until the last few weeks, then, I'll put that third. But yeah, I love this time of year where every game means so much.
Love it. Well, I said just before we hopped on, I wanted to have you on just to get a little bit of a national perspective on this Dodgers team. I think sometimes as fans, we get caught up in the day to day of being a Dodgers fan, of knowing the warts of this team very, very well, and maybe aren't as aware of how those compare to everybody else. So I'll start here. Dodgers starting pitching, absolutely incredible. The fact that they got these guys to the finish line healthy and available. And I'll phrase the question this way: have you ever seen a pitching staff entering the postseason that looks as good on paper as Snell, Otani, Yamamoto, and Glass now?
They're pitching great. I mean, it kind of reminds you of, obviously all those great Atlanta pitching staffs all the years. You had three Hall of Famers when Max, Glavine, and Smoltz. It's not that. But yeah, they're healthy and everything else. Uh, it'd be interesting to see the next round. They beat the Reds. Is that extra starter? Is that going to be Kershaw or Glass now? I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kershaw, the way he's pitching too. But yeah, I mean, I just saw these guys in Arizona. The three of them had a 0.50 ERA. He goes Snell, Yamamoto, Otani. That's a tough combination to beat. And even the bullpen is just starting to pitch a little bit better here in the last 4 or 5 days, and it'll help having Emmett Sheehan in there as well.
Yeah. When it comes to starting pitching, Blake Snell gets the ball in game one. Um, the lefty, we know the Reds have struggled against lefties so far this season, and he leads all Dodgers starting pitchers as far as ERA. What is it about Blake Snell that you think makes him such a perfect fit for game one of this series?
Well, he's trying to get the postseason experience, having pitched in Tampa, San Diego. So he's got that experience going for him. I think he's used to big moments. His last two starts have been very, very good. So his confidence level is sky high too. So it was always going to be Snell, no matter if they played the Mets or Diamondbacks or obviously now the Reds. But yeah, they just trust him in these big moments.
You mentioned the Dodgers bullpen. I think the Dodgers fans, that's the part that terrifies them. We know that there are some names on paper that sound very good. Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan, names like that. And yet those guys have struggled. How would you be feeling about this bullpen if you were Dave Roberts and the Dodgers heading into postseason?
Well, it certainly makes you nervous. Obviously, I mean, they were Dave Roberts is about as exasperated as I've ever seen him after that loss in Arizona when the bullpen blew the 4-0 lead, and then they in game one, and then lost in extra innings. So it'll be interesting to see who returns for the ninth inning. Is it Emmett Sheehan? I don't think it'd be Roki Sasaki. I don't think they trust him to that level yet, but I'm not sure who else it would be.
Yeah, that's the interesting piece. And again, you know Dave Roberts, you've been around him for a while. He has some names, but those names haven't been the guys that have been producing in the bullpen. He has some guys who have been producing, but they're not household names. Do you think Dave is going to be the type to say, I don't care what the name on the back of your jersey says. I don't care what your contract says. If you're the guy that's been getting outs for me, I'm going to go there. Or do you think he's going to lean on some veteran, trusted guys who have struggled this season?
No, I think he'll just trust his own gut, who he trusts to succeed in that situation. I think that's why Seattle was a good test for people. Like I said, I don't think Sasaki's ready for that role yet, but he may go to it. I think he's skittish, obviously, on Tanner Scott. I think he might still turn to him, maybe one game in the playoffs, like, okay, here's your shot. If you succeed, you got it again. If not, I can't trust you in the late innings. So I do believe if there's a safe situation, game one, I bet he goes to Tanner Scott still, but maybe has somebody warm it up at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's been one of the biggest criticisms, I think, from fans is beyond just going to these guys. It feels like sometimes he just says, all right, well, we're going to live or die with you out there. rather than having somebody backing him up. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. Let's flip the script and go with the Reds. Again, this is the Dodgers show, so most people here know the Dodgers super well, and they don't know a ton about the Reds. If for Dodgers fans, what should they be most worried about when it comes to this Reds team?
Just their pitching. Their starting rotation is very good. I think they had like a 2.25 ERA in September. Matches what their batting average was in September. Hunter Green, obviously a local guy here. He's been phenomenal down the stretch. So for the Reds to have any chance to make this series interesting, Hunter Green has got to pitch lights out. Excuse me, and have them win on Tuesday in Game 1. Then you got Lodolo, you got Ashcraft, but very good starting rotation. Bullpen solid, not great, but solid. So just if it's low scoring game, that's the Reds' advantage.
Yeah, we always talk on our show. If you're the Dodgers, the offense needs at least 5 runs for it to feel like it's done its job. And for the Reds, that number might be low. The Reds' offense might be hoping to get 3 or 4 runs onto the board against Dodgers pitching for that to be enough. So do you have? I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is the fascinating player for the Reds because we know the reputation, we know how exciting he is. We also know how bad he has been, how much he has struggled over the last couple of months. But he seems like the type of guy that when the lights turn on, he might be able to flip a switch. Like, do you have any confidence that he'll be able to be a real threat in this series?
I mean, he could be. We'll see. Like you said, Jeff, he hasn't had a good season. They've buried him in the lineup. He's made some crucial errors. So still a young guy. He still have high hopes, but he hasn't had that kind of monster season. Maybe all that changes in the postseason. He certainly doesn't seem like he'd be scared in the moment.
Yeah. Is there somebody on the Reds in that lineup that you view as kind of like an X factor? I would say a name that's off the radar, but to be honest, outside of Ellie De La Cruz, there aren't really any names on the radar. So is there a guy in that lineup that you're kind of keeping your eye on and saying, hey, if I had to pick somebody that maybe surprised some folks, it would be this guy?
Well, Marte, he's done well. Marte could be that guy. McLean, the second baseman, Matt McLean. I mean, he's too good of a player, too much talent to have the poor year they've had. But I would say Marte would be the guy that keep an eye on. And who knows, maybe playing against his own former teammates, Gavin Lux gets up there in a key situation.
Yeah. No, we had Fabian Ardaya on this show from The Athletic yesterday, and it's interesting because the good news for the Dodgers when you go through names like Gavin Lux is that the Dodgers have an abundance of left-handed pitchers in the bullpen, and they happen to be matched up against a team that really struggles against left-handed pitching. So whether it's Lux or whether it's Ellie De La Cruz, it feels like those guys might not see any right-handed pitchers that aren't starters in this series, one after another out of the bullpen. It might be lefties, and it'll be interesting to see if a guy like Lux or a guy like De La Cruz can kind of rise to the occasion.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, they're playing with house money here.
Yeah.
I mean, the Reds haven't been in the playoffs in a full season since 2013. They haven't won a playoff game since 1995. So, you're talking about 30 years now. So, just for them to get in there, only 83 wins, no 25 home run guy, nobody's hitting 270. So, they're certainly of all the teams in the postseason, they're the biggest underdog.
On the Dodgers side, I mentioned you covering this sport nationally and the perspective you have that I think adds value. Again, Dodgers fans, this has not been the season they expected. 93 wins. I think most people were expecting 100 plus, some over 110 wins, and yet they're at 93. And so there's a lot of fans that have ridden the roller coaster of this season and are disappointed in how this team has looked. And honestly, their expectations are lowered because of it. What would you say from a national perspective, the vibe around this Dodger team is? Are they the favorites?
I still think they are. Like we talked about the top of the show, Jeff, just the way that starting rotation is pitching lights out. I think this is as well as they've played all year, the stretch they're on now. Certainly since the first week of the season. So, no, I mean, Mookie Betts looks a lot better. Freddie Freeman all of a sudden started hitting a few home runs, 3 home runs the last few days. So, no, I think the Dodgers are peaking at the right time. The bottom line is, all you want to do is win your division. The Dodgers did that. They play a wild card round instead of having the first round bye. But otherwise, it's the same situation. They're poised for October. It's almost like the regular season is a dress rehearsal for these guys.
Yeah, we had somebody call it 162 game preseason for this Dodgers group because we know Andrew Friedman and company, they build this team for today. They don't build this team for the last 162. It's we want Blake Snell and Tyler Glass now just in hopes that those two guys can be healthy come October. And again, those guys are the top three at the top of the lineup are all healthy. Will Smith and Max Muncy, kind of the only two that are a little bit banged up. But other than that, this group, from Andrew Friedman's perspective, if you had given him this group and said, this is who you're going to start day one of the playoffs with healthy and available, there's not a world where he's not thrilled about it.
No, absolutely. Those guys are finally healthy. For times, Mookie Betts is down.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman hasn't, looked right. Max Muncy at times hasn't looked right. But yeah, it seems like they're all starting to gel, right now, perfect timing. So yeah, I got to think that they're probably the team to beat, certainly in the National League. And then you got Philadelphia Phillies right behind them. So I think everybody in baseball is thinking Dodgers win this series. They play Philadelphia. That's really the NLCS, even though it's around before the NLCS. That decides who goes. A little bit like the Padres and Dodgers a year ago.
Yeah, if the Dodgers get there, how do you think like that? How do you see that matchup playing out? Not specific matchups, but would you be picking the Dodgers to go on the road to Philadelphia in the NLDS?
Yeah, I would have them as a slight favorite, to win that series in 5 games. Now, if they still had Zach Wheeler, I would
Yeah.
flip flop it and thinking, okay, Phillies are the team to beat. But no, I think the Dodgers are the team to beat now. They've been there, done that. They know how to, backs against the wall. They did that last year against the Padres. So no, I think they're in very, very good shape. And I think right now they're playing as good as they have all year.
All right. Two more questions. We'll get you out of here. The first one is on the Dodgers side. Who's maybe an X factor, a player that you're watching? It's hard to say it can't be a star player because it's like, well, which guys are left after that group? But is there a guy in the lineup or a guy in the bullpen or a guy even in the rotation that you're kind of pointing to and saying, I think this guy's going to be a standout?
I mean, Kike Hernandez always gets up for these moments, so I'll go
Yeah.
with him. It seems like no matter what happens in the regular season, this is where he lives for, just the spotlight. So I'll go Hernandez.
Okay. Last one. Prediction. Do you have Dodgers in 2, Dodgers in 3? How do you see this one playing out?
I like Dodgers in 2. I think Hunter Green pitches very well, but they still lose, and I think that'd be a backbreaker for Cincinnati. I think they have to win Game 1 for them to have a chance. Remember now, since this format started in 2022, whoever wins Game 1 is undefeated. So
Okay.
that'd be obviously a big advantage for the Reds and big confidence boost. But no, I just think the Dodgers have way too much talent for the Reds to keep up.
Love it. I love it. Well, that is Bob Nightengale again, MLB writer for USA Today. Bob, we appreciate your time. Enjoy, and you get to enjoy baseball for the next month. As Dodgers fans, we're hoping we get to enjoy baseball for the next month. But the beauty for you is you get to win no matter what.
There you go. I can't be having beer and hot dogs in the press box. You know, hot dogs. You have the Dodger dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, can't enjoy it like a lot of people.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and watching. Just a reminder on this channel, we'll be going live after every single game in the postseason. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be live post game right here on the Dodger Blue 1958 channel. That is Bob Nightengale. I am Jeff Spiegel. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. And of course, go Dodgers.